So here we go. My penitentiary video for the day is going to be about the very first day that you go on to, you take a tour of a maximum security penitentiary. So there's like, you all show up outside of a prison. You all kind of line up. They will, give you like a rundown, make sure you don't have anything in your pockets. They kind of pat you down. This was before they even had metal detectors and they did that whole rigmarole that they were doing whenever I left. But they walk you into the prison and they show you like chow time, when they're running chow, and like just how fast things are kind of going. Inmates are coming in, inmates are going out, they're sitting down, you fill up one row, you're filling up another row, you're moving them out, the whole thing. And they will take you to tours like AdSeg for just briefly. Like you're not gonna go on F-Pod, but you may go on A-Pod, and they'll be wilding the fuck out, and the inmates will be wilding out, and you can always tell, like, there's some people, men and women, that are just scared, and you can see it all in them and shit. And then the instructor, whoever's running that group or escorting everybody around, they'll be like, and these are the nice ones, you know what I'm saying? Which is always funny to me, right? Like, knowing what I know now, because the difference between somebody on A-Pod and F-Pod and AdSeg is like a bad day, you know what I mean? That's it. And that's the same thing between somebody in the dorms and somebody in the 8 building, just a really bad day, you know what I mean? You get that wrong letter, somebody disrespects you, next thing you know, you snap, and then you squabbing, and I mean, it's just a bad day. And so what they like to do, though, is they'll take you to the laundry, and they'll be like some really buff dudes working in the laundry, and they know when they see like bosses come through, and start new boots. They call us new boots. So they know when the new boots come through, and then they're extra aggressive with their movements, stacking tables loud, just like bam. I remember this guy just grabbing a table and bam, throwing it on top, and he's just cut up and yoked up. And I ran my hand across my face. He was like, "I see you scarred up, Knuckles, but you can't handle nothing here," and like starts talking crap to me, you know what I mean? And you really don't say nothing. You just kind of keep it moving. And in the back of my mind, I'm kind of aware, like, this is all just part of a show, you know what I mean? And I think on the day when there's new correctional officers, new boots, there's an extra bit of a show that goes on, where bosses are going to be on their best behavior and doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because if a new boot goes back and says, "Yeah, I saw this going on," then they're going to have to respond to it at some point. So everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. But the inmates, they're all acting extra inmate-ish. You know what I'm saying? They're taking off if they're jack guys, they're like taking off their shirt in their cell or whatever, walking around just yoked up. Maybe they're doing push-ups or exercises or talking shit or mugging you, just kind of like looking at you. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget, man, I was walking by a dining room, and there was like 3 or 4 inmates just sitting in there, like they had just got off work, so they're just kind of sitting there around a table or whatever. And one of them yells my first name out, right? And I don't know how the fuck, and to this day, I still don't know how he knew. I don't know because I got a common first name. Maybe he said, "Well, if you just throw out this name in a group of 10 people, there might be the chance that name is there," and anyway, it kind of freaked me out. Or maybe, they have access to everything, so maybe they got access to a roster with people's first and last names or something, because who knows what they got access to? Who knows if their cellie is the working up front, cleaning the offices or whatever? Who knows, right? It's impossible to tell. But yeah, the first day, everybody's being ultra aggressive and kind of like, just raw, you know what I'm saying? Kind of weeding out the people, seeing who's going to last and who's not going to last. And they'll tell you, they pointed out, like, you ain't gonna make it, you ain't gonna make it, you a dirty boss, you'll make it, you ain't gonna, and they do stuff like that. And they're probably taking bets too, you know what I'm saying? Real talk. But yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. And the feeling of that door closing, like clink, you know what I'm saying? Boy, shoot, that pucker factor's on 10, you know what I mean? If you ain't used to it or something. So anyway, y'all have a good one. I'll holler at you later.